All right, real quick before we start this next episode of HuXM, which is titled Know Thyself, Brand Thyself, you got to check out the t-shirt. Oh, yeah, you see it. It's just sweet. Yeah, got to give a shout out to our sponsors, man, over there at Supreme Designs. They are the ones who designed this amazing piece of artwork. As you see, we got the Socrates right here with the UXM blanking out the eyes. On the top, it says Know Thyself. Shout out to Socrates. But Brand Thyself. Shout out to UXM. So this is that custom. I don't know if you like it. We might let these go. I don't know. But anywho, you need to go look into Supreme Designs, man. They make amazing work, whether it be custom graphic designs, t-shirts, anything creative, you name it. Go check them out, supremedesigns.shop. I'll make sure that I put their information somewhere in the description of this interview, but you definitely got to check them out. We support them. They support us. They are a proud sponsor. As you can see, they believe in the movement, and they making this movement look pretty damn good. Anywho, shout out to Supreme Design. I just had to get that out there. Let's get into this episode, which is titled Know Thyself, Brand Thyself. I'll see you guys on the other end. Peace out. Who are you? No, really, who are you? How often do you even ask yourself this question? See, the great Socrates once said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. See, Socrates' wisdom serves as a timeless reminder that enlightenment begins with introspection, self-discovery, and understanding one's inner values and purpose. Kind of sounds like discovering one's personal brand, doesn't it? Well, today we're diving deep into the essence of personal branding through the lens of self-understanding. So, welcome to Know Thyself, Brand Thyself, a journey to uncovering your authentic self to craft a brand that truly represents you. I mean, it's crazy if you think about it because, like, ever since I can remember, I've been endlessly curious about what makes us tick. I mean, my fascination with human behavior, psychology, and just the nuances of our mind, I always found interesting and profound. Now, although I never pursued these fields academically, they still became the cornerstone of my professional and personal life. See, my journey into self-discovery accelerated once my football career came to an end. And what this did was it pushed me to find a new passion and a new purpose, what led me to realizing that my passion was to draw out the genius in others through personal branding and marketing. What I didn't understand is that by understanding myself, that was the key to me helping others do the same by understanding themselves. Hopefully that didn't tie you up, if you know what I mean. Anywho, I now see how lack of direction affected my early endeavors and how it also affected others. Now, I do understand that knowing who you are is still setting the foundation for a building, and this building guides everything you do. See, today, as we embrace in our personal brand more than ever, it is crucial not just to focus on the shiny stuff, but to go deep into understanding who we are and how we want to be perceived in the world. Also, did you know that branding started back in ancient times, like when the herdsmen would mark their animals to show who owned them? Now, if you fast forward, it's all about how we mark ourselves so that people can identify and understand us. It's crazy how this all ties in. See, folks like Socrates, who dates way back to, I believe, like 400 BC, he's been talking for ages about knowing yourself. And now today, we see how this really matters in branding. See, recent studies shows that really understanding who you are can make a big difference in how effective your personal brand is. And it's all about having the right skills and being true to yourself. Now, the journey to understanding oneself is crucial. See, in personal branding, It's often the reason why most people know and understand who we are and why they believe in us. You also must understand that by not understanding who you are will most likely be the main reason why your business may fail. Like it's that important. See, believe it or not, a ton of solopreneurs, when they start out, they really start out not knowing what branding is. See, they think that by setting themselves up for success, that they are setting themselves up for success because what they hire a graphic designer to create a fancy logo, or maybe have a elaborate like website or package design. Yeah, this is all important, but like I said, that's the shiny stuff. See, they spend countless hours on researching marketing tools to promote their products or service, trends, TikTok videos, all that other stuff that pretty much gets them nowhere fast. See, whether you realize it or not, branding is the single most important step to marketing yourself. As a matter of fact, branding is the first step because it gives you precise clarity on who you are, what you do, why you do it, who you do it for, and last but not least, what separates you from everyone else. Makes sense, don't it? Now, let's dive deep into the essence of branding. As I just previously mentioned, branding is about telling the world who you are, what you do, why you do it, whom you do it for, and what sets you apart from everyone else. See, with this understanding, it's like it's like laying a house's foundation. See, without that, everything else will wobble. So let's introduce an exercise that I like to call the sweet spot. Now, before I take credit for this exercise was inspired by the Japanese concept called the Ikigai, which helps you identify your purpose by answering key questions about your passion, your profession, the market, and the validity that it serves or the value that you can serve to that. But I had to add my little remix to it, and that's why I call it the sweet spot. So let's dive into the sweet spot and we'll go over that and why this is such a cool concept and an exercise that you can actually use today to help you start and build your brand. So let's go ahead and do that right now. All right, let's go ahead and dive right into this thing. As you can see, I just have an image of the diagram of the sweet spot so that you can visualize what it is that I am trying to pretty much explain and educate you. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. So what we're going to start off with, as you can see, you see 4 quadrants, right? And the name of this game is to have all of them connect based off of the words that you see in the middle. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. So the first thing you need to find is what you love, right? You need to figure out what it is that you love to do. And what you love to do should equal your passion, right? So for an example, let's say you're heavily into art, particularly graphic design. You spend countless hours looking at designs, drawing designs, all of these things. This hobby is now a passion of yours, right? And now that this hobby is a passion of yours and you do it so often, you're now good at it, as you can see what the next bubble shows. What am I good at? So what you love and what you love should equal your passion, and your passion, if you stay consistent with it, should turn to what you're good at. Now that you figured out what you're good at, let's go on to the next phase, which is how do we turn this into a profession? Well, the only way we can turn this into a profession is if we provide a product or service based off of what you're good at. So that means you need to what? What problem can you solve, right? Can what it is that you're good at, i.e. your profession, solve somebody else's problem? Absolutely. There's tons of small businesses out there that's consistently looking for graphic designers, whether it be for their digital imprint or just regular things that go out. So graphic designers are needed. So now we figured out that this person found a problem that they can solve for others. So once you find a problem you can solve for others, we're going to move next into what? Your market. Exactly. So now that you have a market, now you realize, all right, I'm going to solve this particular problem for this particular group of people. I'll give you an example. The same graphic designer may only want to focus on logo designs, and they may only want to focus on logo designs for people that are in the, I don't know, app space or something like that. It's being very, very specific. So you're solving that specific problem for that specific market. So now that you have a specific market, what is next? Is there an undeserved demand? So that's another thing that one must find out and figure out. All right, what is the demand for this? Is there a lot of people that actually need this service and they're willing to pay a substantial amount to get this problem solved? Well, absolutely. Once you do your research and you identify that, then the last step, you figure out what is its profitability. Can I really make money off of this? And how can I make money? How am I going to charge and scale? Once you're able to fill all four of these, well, really it's eight because you're combining them, then you came up with what? Your sweet spot. And it's just that simple. Make sense, y'all? That's just something to start with the brainstorm. Like I said, um, I usually have my clients do the grade eight, which has a little bit of these in that element. But this, I use the sweet spot exercise as literally just an exercise to start getting those ideas out. Because sometimes it's hard to just start from scratch as far as in like, all right, what do I want my brand to be? What it is? How can I offer it? Or how does this work? So that's why we use the sweet spot exercise. I hope that was helpful, y'all. If y'all want more information about that, y'all know what time it is. Go ahead and hit me up. I'll love to get on a call with you and kind of break it down and more and actually do the exercise, which may be live or something like that. But that's the sweet spot, y'all. Hope you loved it. Okay, let's go ahead and move on with the rest of what is this called? An essay? I don't know. Let's just go ahead and move on to the next phase. All right, catch you on the other end. All right, cool. Wasn't that fun? Now you got something, right? And if you still don't feel confident based off of that icky guy, like I said, you can always come holler at me. This is literally what we do here at HuxM. We have several tools that you can use. Matter of fact, we're offering right now a free ebook called The Great Eight, which you can apply 8 steps into building your personal brand. And we also have a digitized platform where you can do it yourself. And if you still don't feel confident, like I said, you can always schedule a call, a consultation call with us, and we can pretty much build it for you. So whatever your choice and wherever you feel comfortable, you can use that. All right, that's enough of my shameless plug. Let's get back into it. I got another treat for you guys, right? So now we're going to get into the interview. I would love to introduce a good friend of mine by the name of Pasha Cook. Pasha Cook is amazing. She is a personal brander as well. She has been doing personal branding and image consulting for decades now, helping people out. So she has a ton of gems to share with you guys. So brace yourself. This is going to be fun. And we're gonna get vulnerable on this one as well, a little spiritual, but it's all good, right? So without further ado, so I can stop talking, let's go ahead and get into the interview with Pasha Cook and hear what she has to share with you guys about branding. All right, I'll reach you guys on the other end of the interview. Those that are viewing right now, because we literally just got into the conversation. We've known each other, like I said, for 5 years.
Yeah,
What's interesting is our values are very in aligned together. And as Pasha
yeah.
Cook is going to share with you, she is a branding
Uh-huh.
expert. As a matter of fact, you've been doing this branding thing before me. So a lot of pointers and tips
Yeah.
I learned from you. And now that I'm in this field of practice. So that's what I wanted to do in this
Okay.
meeting with you and I together. I really want to pick your brain. I'm sorry, I'm about to give the audience some free knowledge from you. You know what I mean?
Oh
That's
man, I'm all about giving it away because I truly believe what you like we get these things to if you're creative, like you get them to give away so more can come to you. So but let
yeah,
me introduce myself first.
absolutely. Go ahead.
Because you're just like me, I get into the conversation and forget that there's all these other
Exactly.
protocols to this thing. So my name is
Yeah.
Pasha Cook. I consider myself a brand architect, meaning that I'm a builder of people. I see your potential. I can connect the dots and help you to expand your vision and impact more people. I have been a product of the product for a while. When I first started in branding, let me tell you, I really didn't know what I was doing. I read and done these things, but until you learn to live it and become a product of the product in your own personal brand, then I feel like you shouldn't be like teaching people until you learn something like not just book sense, but like the experience of it. So both of us have been athletes who have transitioned out of sport, and that was my first trial at this thing, right? working with the WNBA, helping these athletes go from college to professionalism, and me going from college to into professionalism and entrepreneurship was like I went through that whole athletic identity and identity foreclosure. And so I
Yeah.
had to live it and be a personal brand. I've expanded other athletes' personal brands, working in front of the scenes, behind the scenes. And I also started Culture with 2020 during the pandemic. So I've learned so much. And as you just said, I love to um, give a lot of that away. Now I do get paid for what I do as well. But
Exactly.
I never believe that I'm giving too much because I'm always learning. Like you got to be a student of the game, so you're always learning something.
Absolutely. And speaking of personal brand, because you and I had to, before we start helping people with their personal brand, we had to identify what our brand was. And I want to talk about that first. Because like I
Okay.
said, you and I's background was similar. We both were ex-collegiate and professional athletes that had to pivot. So how did you re-identify who self is? Because before you start, that is a major problem that I find with my clients.
Mm-hmm.
They especially athletes, they usually have like athletic identity, or even people in corporate America, they've been in corporate so long, it's hard for them to be an entrepreneur and be like, I'm this person and I need to
Yes.
become it first. So if you can share.
Oh shoot, man! I had to learn through the struggle to strength. Honestly, I was in. I've been in different jobs, different genres. Always been around sport in some capacity, but it was something missing. So what I feel like is missing in a lot of that, I'm gonna say for myself and people that I work with, is that personal identity first, like doing that self development, that personal development, and professional development. And so when I wrote the book Champs U, it was really to help athletes identify those transferable skills because a lot of times we're not doing a lot of assessing. We are doing a lot of self judgment, totally different. We're
Yeah.
doing, we are damning ourselves in a way and know all the things that we're not, but we don't do a lot of self assessing, or people haven't guided us in a way to understand what we are, the qualities we already have, right?
Right.
Yeah, we can go ask people around us, depending on what your circle is like. They may can see certain things that are going to help you identify these things. They may not. So within that workbook, the Champs U guide, I've outlined and listed things for you to question yourself about to help you pull these things out. And then also giving you some guides of some of the people, whether you're a college athlete or you're a pro athlete or you're a person, like, right, it goes across the board. Some of the things, some of the people that you can ask to help you to self assess, but it needs to start with you. And then, of course, I went on to to publish Brand Yourself Like a Champion from the inside out, right? So we talk about personal branding and branding itself, but a lot of times when we're talking about this thing, we're always talking about we're looking at the outside, like studying other people and all those things. And that is part of the game. That's part of the
Mm,
game. But if you ain't studying yourself, then you're just pulling from somebody else, and that may or may not really be authentic to you or work for you. Everybody has their own blueprint. You got to know what to cherry pick, but you got to know who you are and what your vision is first and what really aligns with you before you go out and start doing that. So I made the mistake of I've done it both ways,
yes.
right? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say like, I studied and I got it all together at one time. No, it was trial and error. So when you go back to your question, I feel like that personal development, that personal assessing and doing it often and understanding your values, understanding what you identify with, you got to know your identity and what questions to ask because the right questions help you to get to the right answers.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why one of my main mantras is know thyself, then brand thyself. Understand? Because
That's a good one. Can I steal
yeah,
that?
that's
No,
yeah, that's the tag. Know
yeah, I
thyself,
love
brand
that.
thyself. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're on the same page, and let me know that something that I hold dearly isn't some thing that just come up out of thin air, because that's one of your main principles as well. So you
Right.
mentioned you are a product of the product that you now push. And I think that's
Yeah.
the best way to learn, you know what I mean? Because it's trial and error, and it forces you to be humble, because it is extremely difficult to go in those dark rooms and really self-inflect. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
like you said, we do judge first, especially if we had high expectations for ourselves and we're not there yet. So now we got to humble ourselves and be like, okay, let's reassess, who am I? You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And what are the things that make me tick? What motivates me? Then once you
Mm-hmm.
identify that, what is my skill sets? What are the things that interest me? And then putting that all together, be like, all right, how do I want to share this experience with the world to build a
Mm-hmm.
platform in the community? In the last stage, all right, now that I have that, how do I bundle that into either a product or a service? So I would love to hear what not only what your steps that you take to do that, and also your philosophy around building something like
Oh man, it's really trial and error. I believe that you got to get in the game in order to change the game. Meaning, you're not going to know what you need to work on until you get into the game. Again, we want to start with that self-assessing, reading books, of course, getting coaches, all those things. But sometimes, and I made this mistake, I've gone out and got read the book, got the book, somebody recommended, had the coach,
that.
and
Yep.
still didn't know what I wanted. So basically, I'm going with what they say. And then you think it don't work because you haven't studied yourself enough. I think it's a daily thing, working on yourself and then just identifying. So what I really bless you, what I really have learned is your purpose is always there. We take our eyes off of it, right? We start look because sometimes it comes so easy. Now I'm not talking about the work to refine that thing. I'm not talking about the work to grow that thing into a business. That's where it gets, but the purpose has always been there. So in 2018, I took a break. 2018, 2019, I was working with a professional athlete. I was working back and forth with in China, developing his brand, shooting documentaries, doing all those things, directing all these things that I had learned how to do in New York.
I
And so
remember
for
that.
my right, so for my own personal brand and my business, this part of my business, it took a halt. But I was learning some things that I can apply. And so that's the thing about it. I don't think we're ever really on the wrong path. It's like, who am I in this scenario? What do I bring to the table in this scenario? And what can I pull from this that's going to help me keep going towards that vision, right? So that's how culture ended up being launched. We were in negotiations with a company out of Beijing to help him become an ambassador, and they wanted us to help design. I was like, something went off in me, like, man, I want. And then COVID, all these things fell apart. I got home. New York was shut down, LA, everything was shut down, but this thing was still like a burning desire in me. And then it just started to kind of formulate itself. Where I ended up with this brand, Culture Life. And what I realized is Culture Life, and we call it stylish comfort, right? Because I travel a lot, athletes travel a lot, right? A lot of pro athletes and collegiate athletes travel a lot. But what I realized is it's for the person who wants to be stylish on the go. So it had this like because I had to jump off planes, go to meetings, do all these things, and I wanted to be able to have a tire that worked for that. While I'm not doing a whole bunch of changing because I had an incident in Johannesburg where the flight everything got mixed up and I had to take my suit out of the suitcase and put it on and go to a conference immediately. So that when I started to trace and track, that's what I do really good is really connect, right? I realized that this was something that I was being prepared for the whole time. And then I had to learn that game. I had to learn manufacturing, producing. Like you have to learn a lot when it comes to the fashion industry if you're not just sourcing. So I learned how
Yep.
to source and design, right?
Yep.
So that took the Pasha Cook, the Champs You, to brand yourself like a champion. I thought off the table for a little while, but I was developing being a product of the product, meaning I help people with their own personal
That's
brand.
magic.
I used to have my own person, and then I actually launched another tangible brand, right?
Yep.
And it's like, okay. So now what I realized is we weave all this together from playing basketball. I used to be a men's groomer, teaching certification, started this brand and then the speaking in the books. And now it all comes together because I'm speaking at schools.
So
I'm
this is
speaking
like all Pasha's university because you had to learn all those skill sets and experiences to put into one thing that you're able to
right.
cultivate now.
And that's
Nice.
what I mean that you're never off track if you learn how to put the puzzle pieces together. So yeah, I have this brand. This brand isn't the top thing. Pasha Cook is still the thing that drives everything else, right? And creates opportunities for other people. So this would be culture would be a thing like can get people interested in it, like people in Europe. I've run across all kind of people that's interested in this logo. And at the center of it is love and authenticity. Being
Yeah.
yourself, being lovable. Like love is what connects us through the world, love and respect
Universal
all the
language.
traveling. You see what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
So it's not just about the clothes, it's something that helps me to be comfortable, be stylish on the go. It's something that is love centered, right? Helping other people and connecting with other people no matter their culture. And I realized like all of that turned into what I have right now. So the speaking, the making the books, the inspiring other people, the building of people, the building of brands, all of it comes together now. And I don't have to have it like being an octopus, being all over the place. But it
Love
still
it.
started with understanding me enough to connect these dots. Like I don't have to separate all these things, they all
Yeah.
go together. And one of the things when it comes to business, right? So here's some information for y'all. About to break this down. Write it down. Okay. So when you have a business like mine and you have IP, I have the IP, that's the books, okay? Then I have the trademark, which is the culture life, right? And then
Ownership.
I have Pasha Cook, the brand
Hmm.
that does the speaking, right? The consulting, all that. Now I have these three things, and it's like, okay, how do I keep them together but separate? Well, how much income do I want to drive from? I might have a big goal, right? Let's say the goal is 250,000 a year, right? And I have these three departments of my business. I can say, okay, Pasha Cook, the brand is speaking and books. This is how much I want to make in speaking. This how much I want to make in books, and this how many sales I want Culture to have to drive that. And that way I ain't got to put pressure on one thing. And that's what they call multiple streams of income. Now,
Right.
let me break this down further for y'all. If I was to go to a conference or a school, right, and I can negotiate, this is my speaking fee, this how many books I want y'all to buy, and then we have some apparel that I can either give away or get them to buy for certain, then I'm not,
Yeah.
they all
Yeah.
making money at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I go on stage with my stuff, people get interested, shoot them to the website. I might have on the sweatshirt that I have as a feature on my website that I want people to buy that I know I can.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Yeah.
be all over, but it took me a long time
Yeah.
to understand that. So they all support each other and they can all drive each other. And some of them I make it while I'm on stage, some of them I make it while I'm asleep.
I love it. So check it out because I definitely want to get into culture. But before we do that, I want to circle back because you said something that is so pivotal, and I think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to come in full circle, especially for the audience again. You
Okay.
mentioned all of these different experiences that you had to do, right, in order to get here. But then we also, but before that, you also mentioned how sometimes people will go and seek guidance and information within a book or even a coach. And sometimes they identify maybe a skill set or a talent, but it may not be your true passion. And a lot of
Right.
times we get distracted because of that. And that journey takes a lot longer. So, what
Mm-hmm.
advice would you give to someone for them to self reflect and draw out the genius within themselves before
Hmm.
someone else says, hey, this is what it is, and then points you in another direction? Because we live in a society right now where everybody is fighting for attention and it's extremely distracting. So, someone like, I give you a perfect example. I can be talking to you and just say, hey, I think you should be doing this. Now, I can be right, but I can also be wrong. And if you take that information because you trust me, or if I have a level of authority, that can run you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go.
Absolutely.
But you know what I mean. But the things that really are self fulfilling are the ones that wake us up in the middle of the night and be like, no, this is it. You get what I'm saying?
Mm.
So I would
Mm-hmm.
love your advice on how to help somebody, you know, stay on track and focus. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. You get the question I'm trying to ask you. Like,
Yeah,
how does someone deal with that? Because I'm even guilty of that sometimes, and I've been doing this for about a decade plus. You know what I mean?
I've gone through
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
it's a trust with self, which it's one word that sums that up for me, and it might be I don't. Well, I'm not even gonna give a disclaimer to it. Discernment.
Okay,
You got to work on your discernment skills.
gotcha.
Meaning that's a level of trust. Now, that doesn't mean that every time you're going to get it right, but you got to go. So if you say, Pasha, I think that you need to, take culture and um, produce it overseas and sell 10,000 units.
Mhm.
The body doesn't lie. What do I feel when you say that? Mm, mm-mm. You got to learn to trust that voice because that voice is going to be there when nobody else is there. That voice is your intuition. It belongs to nobody else. And I had to learn to start to trust that even when I'm looking, even when I'm in somebody's presence, and I'm still sharpening that skill. And if you listen to a lot of people who have made it to very high places, what they say is their gut. I mean, there's
Good.
different words that they use. The
Yeah.
gut, the instinct, discernment, right? It's all this to me is all the same. It's a
Yeah.
feeling. And you
Yeah.
got to learn how to trust it. Did it feel right? Right?
Hmm.
Not that did it bring me anxiety or something like that, because sometimes that anxiety, you got to be
That's
able to
healthy.
gauge what your body, yeah, sometimes that anxiety is your fears of doing something wrong. So just because you're
Mhm.
uncomfortable don't mean that that information isn't right. So again, you got to test it. It has to be tried and true. You got to test it. When I feel this way in my chest, what does that mean for me? It's like, oh, that means don't listen to that voice, even when it's my own voice, right? So as I said, you got to build up that instinct, and that means you got to learn to trust yourself. That means that you got to be able to walk in your mistakes and say, okay, that was a mistake. Oh, it's not even a mistake. That was a lesson. How do I take this and create the next step? Okay, then you create the next step, and it's incremental steps. But see, this society and this world right now, as you're talking about, um, there a lot of people are trying to create quantum leaps, thinking that if I go get this coach, it's gonna make me a millionaire. Oh, if I read this Think and Grow Rich, I'm automatically. You read it for information, then
Yeah.
you read it again. One book now.
Yeah.
I talk about 10 books, one book. You read it for information, right? Then you read it again for application.
Hmm.
Then you read it again so that you can keep repeating. So that's like you going to the gym. You go out and work out one time, you can't expect to have big body. It's over and over and over again to becomes a lifestyle where you don't even think about it. When you get up in the morning and do the things that's in your routine, a lot of them you don't. It's automatic
Right.
because you've been
Automatic.
doing it for so long. And so
Yeah.
that's what people have to understand. Like we do live in this microwave society, but anything that has been grown and that is sustainable that they have been able to maintain came from practicing and practicing and practice, just like we learn as athletes. You ain't gonna get that crossover, or you're not gonna be able to like when they throw that ball, always be able to automatically catch it unless you've been doing it a long time. Boom, boom, boom,
Correct.
boom, boom. Hand it,
Correct.
hand the ball, out of ball, out of ball, hand the ball. So that's what I would say. You have to practice your way to the answer.
I love that.
Hmm.
And another thing that I find when working with clients that they find difficult, right?
Hmm.
So talents, right? We understand the difference between a talent and a skill set.
Yes.
Talent is something that comes natural. Skill set is something you develop. When you can merge the two, you got something that fantastic, right? Now, talent is not as ubiquitous as you think. It's not like how someone that can sing, they can sing when they sing, or someone that's fast, that's just automatic or can draw.
Hmm.
For what we're trying to do, some of these talents are very subtle and very nuanced, you
Uh-huh.
know? So, how do we get somebody to see that talent within themselves? Because sometimes I give you a perfect example. Let me use me as an
Yeah, give me an
example.
example. Okay, cool.
For the longest, people have been telling me that I should be taking two paths: coaching, but coaching like football, or
Hmm.
teaching. And I don't want to do neither one of them. And I'm going to tell you, I love football. It's what got me to where I wanted to go, but I never wanted to coach X's and O's. I
Hmm.
love teaching, but I never wanted to be in a class with 30 students. But
Hmm.
what I do love is helping people, getting them from
Hmm.
point A to point B. But it
Hmm.
took me not 10 years, but it took me about 7 years to identify that, oh, you guys saw a natural talent in me, meaning that I know how to share information, I know how to build people, right?
Hmm.
But then
Hmm.
I had to be wise enough to be like, okay, they only understand it in those domains. What they're
Hmm.
saying is I have a natural talent to use this for something else, if that makes
Right.
sense. So that's what so that's
So
what you're trying. Okay.
so that's the same thing, transferable skill,
Transferable skills. Gotcha. Gotcha.
right? So
Gotcha.
you got to know what works for you, and the transferable skill, like it could be something that sounds like if you say teaching, then the first thing people are going to do is think about the classroom. But
Right.
how does that word apply to you?
Right. Right. Right.
You see, because I'm a teacher, but I'm a teacher in the world. I'm
Yeah.
a coach or a consultant, whatever, in the world, So it doesn't. It's when you box yourself into that one standard of the word
Yeah.
teaching. We think it's only classroom, only or coaching. We think it's only in the sport, but it's like no, that's a transferable coaching. You can coach through Zoom.
Right.
You know that you want to build people, you know that you want to help people get from where they are to where they want to go. Okay, you do that in a way that resonates with Jabari, not with, and I think also because the universe talks to us all the time, right?
Right.
If you're hearing that from several people, like, you should be a coach, you should be a coach, you should be a coach, then consider it, but in the way that makes sense for you,
Right. Right.
right? Coaching, does that resonate with me? It only didn't resonate when you thought it was minimizing it down to
Yeah.
your what you used to do, the sport, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and what we both know and what we both are teaching is that we're more than athletes. We
Correct.
take that athletic part of us is a part of us. It's a part of the whole sum total of who we are. But it's not everything. But we can definitely, because we spend so much time in it, take things that we learned in it and transfer it over to other things that we really are excited about and passionate about now. And you may be passionate about another level of this thing later in your life. Now you're doing what you're doing now, but something may resonate with you where you say, you know what, I want to do that now. And it still aligns with the truth of who you are. That's what's
Right.
important. Mhm.
Awesome. No, that's
That
great
makes
advice.
sense?
No,
Okay.
that was great advice. See, I'm even
Yeah.
learning. See, even the
Yeah.
teacher can still be the student. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean? I love
always,
it.
the
I
teacher is
love it.
always a student. The teacher is
Exactly.
always, because a lot of times we're also reflecting back on ourselves. Like a lot of times when we're giving information or advice, um, we're also hearing it too, right? The
Yes.
teacher, to me, the teacher has to also know how to be the student,
Yes.
sometimes simultaneously.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. So
yeah.
I want to talk about the future
Hmm.
and how to get people prepared for the future. Because I kind of slightly mentioned there's so many moving parts, so many things is going on, technology,
Hmm.
economy,
Hmm.
political shift, all of these things. How could one first eliminate distraction to stay on course? And two, how can the next person that wants to build a personal brand to brand themselves take some of these things and use them as either leverages or tools in order to build the platform that they need, what they should be looking out for and expecting and preparing for?
Let's start with the first question. So the
Okay.
first question was the limiting distractions,
Distraction.
right?
Distractions. Yep.
You got to turn off the television. You
Mm-hmm.
got to turn off, you got to be able to move away from social media, anything that is distracting you from the vision. Now, so if you are to turn on the television or the computer, study the game. When you're in sports, so I'm just use sports, right? Because we know a lot about. When you went to go practice, did you have a TV in front? Did you have like you were focused on the plays? You were looking at the playbook. You were doing that thing repetitively. So the thing is that you need to be doing that thing, and you need to show up for your vision every day, multiple times a day. Whatever that thing is, keep training, keep listening, listen to books about it. If you want to get on your computer, set some time apart to study other people who are in the game or study certain. That's why you need to know your values. You need to know certain things that we break down in the workbooks, of course, and I think you probably break them down in yours too. But like knowing the part of it, and I think Oprah said this, a lot of times the thing that creates people or make people feel like they're unsuccessful or they're not able to be as successful as they want to be is because they don't even know what they want. They don't even have the vision yet. And once you start to really understand what you want, you start to make decisions that align with that. You'll know, just like I said, that feeling like, okay, if I want to do this, if I'm helping athletes and entrepreneurs in personal and professional development, why am I over here playing video games? Is that adding to you got to ask yourself,
Yeah.
and what is what I'm doing adding to the vision? And that doesn't mean that you don't take time for some level of escapism where you take your mind off of that thing, where you can like, kind of
Yeah.
decompress or like have some fun in life because I don't also believe in grinding all the time either because anything that grinds over and over wears out. So
Wears out.
I don't buy into that. I used to buy into that because I was listening to the wrong people. There's a
Yeah.
time to grind and there's a time to unwind.
I agree.
Catch it. Like, because without rest, right? I'm saying, because when you rest is a part of the game. Rest is a part of the game. Recovery is a part of the game, right? So yeah, you need to be at that thing every day, showing up some kind of way, whether it's say, okay, I'm gonna read this for 20 minutes. I'm going to, learn something new that can add to the vision. every day, whatever that is. And then you start to identify what those things are and start to apply them. Now, what was the second question you asked?
Yeah. And the second question is just,
Okay.
I want to prepare
Mhm.
people for what's already happening. Meaning, there's so many things that are happening as far as in technology,
Right.
as far as in how the economy is shifting, the way at working is shifting, the way at even branding yourself is changing. So, like,
Hmm.
what's some of the things that maybe you're using, or some of the things that they should be aware about and look into to kind of help them stay on track?
So in some parts, I'm the wrong person to ask that when it comes to
Okay.
like this technology and all that, because I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of that stuff is fleeting. Today it's one thing that's going to make you the millionaire. Tomorrow is something else. And the thing that I feel like sticks is building relationships.
Hmm.
That has never gone out of style. That is what I do. I learned how to build relationship, the right relationship. Now you go every once in, you'll make mistakes in everything you do, or you're gonna have lessons in everything you do. But if you build the proper relationship, just like if you were in a like on the football team or a fraternity or whatever, building relationships, that's what opens more doors than technology.
It's true. It's
Like
true.
if Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, if all these things went out today and your website went down, could you still make it because you got relationships?
Got you. Got you.
So
And
I
that's
don't I
all
don't follow
those
all of that.
platforms are used for, is to build digital relationships. So at the end of the day,
Digital.
you have the skill set or the talent to build real organic relationships. It doesn't matter what moves and shifts. That was golden
So
right there.
that
We should
that
charge them
that's
for
that's
that.
what that's what we are right now. Like
Yeah, it's
you
true.
you said 5 years ago or so many years ago,
Yeah.
and I just so happened to message you, you messaged me
Yeah.
back, and now we're on the podcast. You reigniting some things, you're doing some new things.
Mhm.
Relationships.
I love
So
it.
do not so you people, if they don't hear anything else I'm saying, relationships matter. The type of relationships you have in your life matter. And understanding that, have people in your life that bring value to your life, but you also got to bring value to theirs. It should
It's
not be one-sided. It got to be reciprocated. And that's one of the strongest things you can ever do, because all this technology is technology. And if you can use it to build your business and you want to study that stuff because of whatever, see, every business don't need social media.
true.
Everyone doesn't, but if you looked at social media, you would think that every business out there needs social media. If you have some of the most powerful people you ain't never heard of,
Never
they don't
heard of
have social, they don't have social media.
it. Yeah, this is true. This is
Okay,
absolutely true. Now you
so
talk.
that's my answer to that. Like, continue to build relationship, continue to show up for yourself, and the more you work on yourself and learn how to show up for yourself and be kind and generous to yourself and have integrity, because yeah, there's a lot of shortcuts, but integrity lasts.
Yeah.
It's going to help you, stay in the game a lot longer, is to have that. But again, I'm gonna say it again. Y'all gonna get tired of me to say it. Relationships.
Nice
Yeah.
relationships. That's it.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. So now I want to talk about culture, culture,
Culture, life.
culture, life.
You
All
can't
right.
can't can't, can't forget the life. Yes.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yes. Tell me about it. Well, I know about it, but tell them about it.
Yeah. So culture, life is something I started in 2020 in the height of the pandemic. Call me crazy if you want to. But it was something that I was being moved to do because I had honestly never saw myself as a designer, or not necessarily owning a clothing brand, like maybe printing some t-shirts here or there, whatever. But and most people that know me, is I consider myself a spirit-led person, meaning um, I'm in the game, I'm in the world, but I don't try to do things so much as the world, right? And I kept getting this voice like telling me it's time for me to do this. So I enlisted someone that I know, a dear friend of mine, to, come up with some logos, and we put it all together. And then it started to just come to me what this really means. So Culture Life is a brand that is about the connection of love. As you see the logo here, it looks different. I let people see whatever they're going to see because it looks like art. But at the center of it is love. And I believe that love is God, right? And that connects us all because we all have blood running through us, and we all have a heart, right? And so to me, love can connect you to any person around the world. I've been to China, Egypt, Johannesburg, Togo, Hong Kong, like different places. And love and respect, or like you said, are universal languages. So it has a message, That's a deep rooted message. But also, hey, I'm a stylish person, so I'm just not gonna have something with a message and not be stylish. So I really take very I take very intentional steps in the things that I promote, the clothes that I make and the clothes that I design, because I want them to be quality over quantity.
Correct.
So culture life is also about creating small batches of things, small collections. And in the future, we're going to do more collaborations with other artists, athletes, whomever we feel like fit that mold of our values, which are about people first, people before profit, definitely making a profit, right? But it's people over profit, but it's relationships, it's helping, it's lifting as we climb. Like if I can use my platform and I see somebody is very, very talented, it's not always money that you can offer them. You can offer them, a platform where more people can see them in collaboration, like our ancestors used to do. They used to barter, they used to work together, and that's what this thing is about. So yeah, we have it to where we source quality goods, and I also am a designer, and preferably what I want to do in the future is start to bring in more young talent and allow them to design some of these things for us. Again, this is a way to spread love and spread joy, but also create opportunities for other people.
Got you. And who is this brand exactly for? Because I know it's for everybody,
Hmm.
but it's not for everybody. You
Yeah,
get
no,
me?
yeah, it's not. So,
Yeah.
it's so I'm a product of the product. People who are on the go, who have business meetings. We have the leisure line of it, and then we have the elevated line of it too, and that's where we design ourselves. And our pants are made more like slack. They look like a trouser more than they do jogger, but we
Yeah.
make them out of French terry material. So it's for those hustlers and those grinders, those people that are on the go, game changers, people that like to be stylish on the go and still like to be comfortable, but appropriate. Like you can get off the plane and put on a blazer with our pants, change our shoes, and go, because that's the kind of lifestyle I was living. Like,
Okay.
you might be comfortable when you get on the plane because you got on belts and all this other kind of stuff. You got to take all this stuff out. It's like, well,
Yeah.
how can I need to create something that you look that good, but you don't have to take off the belts and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about that kind of concept, not really creating it, but like when I used to work in luxury retail. So I was a stylist before I was a designer. I've styled and worked at the highest level
Yeah.
before I was a designer. So I have the luxury retail experience, the professional styling experience, and then it segued into me becoming a designer. So I'm not one of them cats that just came out here like, oh, I want a brand. No, it over a decade,
Yeah. It
over a
was a
decade before I even
yeah.
got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This sounds like this is for me. I mean, when you were just
Yeah, yeah,
mentioning, I
I've only
travel a lot.
styled men. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've only styled men and professional athletes all my life. That was it. So I
Yeah.
understand how we travel. Like we like to have on something very comfortable, but you want it to be nice. So when you think of like some of the brands that if I were to give you brands that kind of fit that, Ralph Lauren,
Definitely. I knew he was gonna
the
say
high,
that. Yep.
right? Ralph
Yep.
Lauren and Xenia.
Mm-hmm.
And Xenia has it like, so if you were to merge them and then put a black spin on them, a black woman spin on them who's a stylist,
Yeah.
who's a stylist, that's what we're creating here. And it's a lifestyle brand. So what that means is it's a lifestyle. It's not just, you know, clothing, it's a lifestyle. So there are other segments, and I won't even give it away right now, that we're going to go into. When you think of Ralph Lauren, think of all the things that he does.
Yeah.
But that is going to be a progressive thing, and some of that stuff will come when I'm not even here. So we're setting up culture life to be something, a legacy that benefits other people even when I'm long gone. So
Nice.
I'm not in a hurry because this is my life's work. So I'm not in a hurry to do a bunch of things with it. We were very successful in Brooklyn, which to me it was like, okay, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, right?
Right. Right.
Brooklyn is still showing us love. I haven't even been promoting culture that much since I've landed here in Texas, and it's just selling itself.
I love it. I
It
love
sells
it.
itself. Yeah.
And it's crazy because, and this is how I know that you're a true designer. Because let's talk about your icon, right?
Mhm.
And in the way that it's designed. I've seen this icon several times because, like I said, I've been following the journey, but every time I look at it, it looks different and unique. So it tells
Mm.
its story. It's almost like a living, breathing icon. And
No.
I'm big off of connection. And that's the number one thing I see. There's lines that's all interconnected with the heart and the center, which you just
Yeah.
explained why. Like I'm deeply ingrained with things that have significant meanings that also
Yeah.
still look simple at the same time. Like I do
Yes.
complex like that, like, and you
Yeah.
hit it.
Thank
You
you.
hit it right on the
Thank you.
mark.
Yeah. And then let me see if I could explain.
There
So
we
when you
go.
look at the line, right, it never
Mhm.
breaks. So even when we created it, the line here, it never broke. It just,
Mhm.
the way that it was created, right? She did like this and then it come back up, but it never breaks. And that's the thing is like that connectivity. We're all connected. You know, the news and, you know, all the fighting and all that kind of stuff can make us feel like we're separate, but we're all connected, man. And
Yeah.
I think that if we can just learn to respect each other and come together, and so that's what this is about, is the power of relationships and collaboration. Yeah, I am the orchestrator and the designer and the person that came up with it. But just like I was raised by a village of people, culture will be raised by a village of people. It's not God gave it to me, but it wasn't just for me.
I get what you're saying. I get
So
what
yeah,
you're saying. And I know because last time we talked about that, you had a game plan on how you were going to share it with the world. Like you're not doing the traditional come to my website and order something. You were going to
hmm
pick projects with certain unique people that had stories and kind of deliver it that way. So if
yeah.
somebody wanted to get behind you and support in some type of way, how do they still do it, knowing that you're doing it in an unconventional way?
Well, I feel like the right people will resonate with my message.
Okay.
They can definitely, you know, contact me through the website, you know, coach@coachalife.com, or you can, you know, email us at info@coach@coachalife or info@Pasha Cook. So you can definitely, I mean, if you contact me on social media or whatever, I'm always there to return messages and stuff like that. But that's why you don't see me out here trying to get a bunch of influencers and stuff. So the voices, right? People are
Yeah.
like, oh, you need to go out and do it this way. You need to go out and get all the influencers. And I'm like, I want people to speak my brand and to promote it that really finds value in it. I'm not paying you to find value in it. Now I will pay people because I so this is how we started with even just my marketing, right? My tags that I have that come on the Culture clothes right now are a picture of me and this little 11, 12-year old who his mom worked in the shop because I wanted to use the local community and I paid him to be a model for Culture. Then my other, if you go to my website and you see the video that's on there, he was on there and another young man that came out of my neighborhood who's an artist that does some stuff that's similar to Culture Life. And I paid them to be a part of the campaign because I'm about raising up the communities that you're in. Yes, I could have went out there and got somebody who I could pay that people know and like,
Right.
but I'm giving this little young guy, that was his first time making money for being himself. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. It's so much bigger than
I
like
was going to say it's
just
much bigger
clothes.
meaning to it. Yeah, much bigger.
Yeah,
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. So yeah,
Well,
this I'm
I'm already
excited
putting that
about it.
out there. You about to see me in one of these
Oh,
real soon.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, hey, you know, and I'm right now we're working on some new designs and stuff like that. We have a few things up on the website right now. How the website goes, I've made it really simple. We're doing made to order right now. Again, so this is something I didn't share with you. Um, After I sat with it for a little bit, and this is how we originally started, but you know, you start to get those voices in your head, and I was trying a whole bunch of different things. I do not desire culture to have a big footprint on this world. The world of fashion, honestly, I feel like it damages the earth probably more than the oil industry.
For
Because think about it. Yeah, let's think about it. I'm about to break it down with you for you real
sure.
quick. If you, I'm not gonna name anybody, I don't want to be sued. So anyway, if you were to go to a major
Mhm.
store's website
Mhm.
and you say you want to order some men trousers, if they have 25 styles on there and they come in 7 sizes, and then they have hundreds of stores across America, how many pair of pants do you think that is?
You're right.
A lot.
A lot.
So any of them stores that have multiple sizes, multiple styles, multiple, that is the imprint because they're not selling all. And even if they are, that means that this stuff, man, I was like, man, this stuff, I don't want to leave that that huge imprint. That's why I make things that I want that you can pass down to other people later on, that is quality enough that you're going to keep it for 10 years.
It's funny you said that. That's literally where my shift is going with my
Mhm.
fashion. Like when I was younger, I always wanted to wear gang of shoes, like I always wanted to swap out the fresh new thing. Now I want something that's quality that I can always interchange.
That's
I
right.
hate to use the word minimalist because that's a new tag word, but
Yeah.
theoretically, that's where I'm getting like a few pieces that I can just shift that that I like, that it feels good and it's tailored
Yeah.
to to my style and what I like. So we're on the same page.
That's what I used to do. That's what it, well, not all stylists, but that's the type of stylist I was when I was doing style. It's like, because these guys are on the go so much, you want to be able to give them things that is they have to think about the sport. So you want to make their wardrobe nice enough and simple enough that they don't have to think about it too much, right? If you
Right.
get, and I used to teach these things, maybe, I don't know, we'll see, start shooting some videos. I thought about that on helping people with that. But like if you get so there are staples within your closet. A blue suit, you want to start off with like a blue suit, gray suit, black. Then you
Yep.
start to go to the prints and all that, right? Have a couple of nice white shirts that can
Yep.
go with jeans, that can go with a blazer and jeans, that can go with a suit. Right there, you probably got about 20 outfits or more
Yeah.
just with that. Then have a couple of pair of shoes that you can change in and out, and one pair of nice, clean kind of sneakers. You don't need a lot. It's like interchangeable. So when I make stuff for culture life, it's interchangeable. It's interchangeable, right? And
Yeah.
that's another thing. So that's how sustainability isn't only just the fabric, even though thing that I, this crew neck I have on is organic cotton, but sustainability isn't only in the fabric. It's like making these things that people can wear. You can wear this with a jean. You can wear this with a cool printed trouser or something, some loafers. You can wear it with shorts. So that's important as well, is understanding how to style things so you can have more things with just a little.
I love it. I love it.
I'm
This
having
is
too much fun on here, Jabari. I'm having too much
Hey,
fun.
I love it. No, it just takes me back. I don't know if you noticed about me, but my first business, well, my cousin was in fashion. We had a brand. It was called Free Bread, which stands for the exchange of value from one individual to another. We started
Right.
it back in 2008 during the economic crash, and it was a
Mhm.
storyline based off of it because it was like, during that time, everybody was running like chickens with their heads cut off, and it was like,
Yeah.
we need to offer something to the people that they can say that's theirs. And I
Right.
just see so many similarities and parallels. So what it leads me to believe is
Mhm.
certain people like us naturally going to have the same type of mind frame because I know several other Pashas and Jabari Smiths, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay,
Mhm.
there's a certain group of type of people that have the same type of philosophy and principles to life,
Mhm.
and they approach it that same way. At the end of the day, we're givers. You know what I mean? We want to give
Yeah.
knowledge, information. And here's the thing that I stand on. I believe that information passing is what makes humans human. And we do it to the core of our DNA. Like that's what humans do. We pass along information through, whether it be verbally or just through our regular DNA as we procreate, if you get what I'm
Right.
saying.
Yeah.
So I feel that you're living up to, you can call it God's will or the universal will, when you're
Mhm.
giving
Mhm.
information that can help people grow and evolve to keep this
Mhm.
thing called life going as long as it can possibly go. And that's what that sounds like in the essence of what not only your clothing brand is, but even
Mhm.
in the essence of what it is that you do as far as in helping people draw out the genius within themselves. I freaking love it. So I'm gonna rock with you
Thank
till
you.
the wheels fall off because of that.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And anything I could do, within my grips, just let me know. Because people say, let me know if you do anything. I can't do anything. But if it's in my wheelhouse, I got it. I'm so open to sharing information, man. Because it's enough room for all of us out here. So you can take it so in the Bible, there's a line that said that he who has ears hear. And so some people think about religion. I don't think about it as religion. I think about like coded language because it says,
Yeah.
let he who has ears hear, meaning every one of us has a voice that somebody's going to be attuned to. There are people that could be attuned to my voice that wouldn't be attuned to your voice. There are people attuned to your voice and it's not just your voice, it's who you are. Like they may resonate with you more because of who you are and what you do and what you've done in your experience. They may resonate with me. So all of us have a voice that certain people are going to be attuned to.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about just that physical voice, it's who we are and what we stand for. So that's why when you have people doing the same thing, I don't believe in competition. On the court, yes. In life, no.
No. Yep.
Because if you think that, hey, I admire this person, I can never do it like they, you're right, because you're not them. You can only do it like you can. And that's
Correct.
okay. That's
Correct.
perfectly fine. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I know you mentioned briefly
Hmm.
where people can find you at, but just to have it down there, all your different handles, website again,
Okay.
and I'm going to also
Yeah.
put it up there in editing as well. But yeah, how can they find you? How can they support you? All the above.
Okay. So the website for actually I merged the two, and I may separate them again, but you can find information about me and Culture Life all on the Culture Life website. So it's culturelife.com. That's culturelife.com. And if you go to the About Us page, it'll give you information on me. You can and people that just like some people want to pick your brain for a minute, right? So I do offer a quick, I think it's either 15, I had to look on there again, 15 or 30 minutes where people can just come and ask me questions for the first time. Like
Nice.
it's the calendar is there. You can just set up the time that you want. And hey, I don't work with a lot of people one-on-one, let me say that, because that takes up a lot of time. But I
Yeah.
am in the process, and I don't know when this is going to air, but it'll still be going on then. I am in the process of relaunching the Brand Yourself Like a Champion sessions and boot camps. And I've made those things now where we have an entry price that most people will be able to afford, where we can come in a group setting because, when you're out here making things happen, you don't have a lot of time to sit down with everybody one on one. I do some, but I don't do a lot of those things. And the only way I work with someone one on one is like in that discovery session, it has to be some synergy. It has to be something that says, you know what? I'm going to take out the time to work with you because I truly believe it's not that I don't believe in everybody that I work with, but it's something innate that makes me say, okay, I want to work with you and get you to the next level by giving you what I have. Because I don't have, this is the thing I don't think enough coaches say. I'm not for everybody, meaning it's not that I'm mean or anything like that. Is that my experience only applies to some. It doesn't apply to everyone, especially in a one-on-one setting. I can teach from my books all day long. I do believe those can help
Yeah.
most people, honestly. But working one-on-one, you have to have a certain feeling about me. I have to have a certain feeling about you,
Yeah.
and your vision has to be at a point enough that I can help you take it to the next level. The
Gotcha.
way that I take it. No 12 steps here.
That takes a lot of, first of all, wisdom and maturity to understand that about you, like the way that you're the most effective. Like, hey, this is the best way that I can, offer value to someone by doing it this way. And that,
Mhm.
that, that goes to show it takes years to come to that point to be like, no, this is the
Yeah,
best way that I'm effective. I love it.
yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
Wasn't that fun? See, I told you Pasha Cook was going to have them gems for you. Now you got something to hold, something that you can use. I hope that you found that valuable. Anywho, this wraps up our time. Shoot, you guys lent me your ears and your eyes for what, the better half of almost 2 hours. So I'm forever grateful for that. I do want to share this. If this was something that you found valuable, I strongly encourage you to share it with people. Matter of fact, I'm going to give you a mission. If you found this helpful or valuable, or if you know people that can get some value from this, please share it. Matter of fact, share it with at least 5 to 10 people. Okay. I know you guys probably already liked and subscribed, and you're probably going to comment. That's awesome as well. But like I said, this is just helps me complete my mission. And like I said, my mission is to draw out the genius in others, and I do it through personal branding and marketing. So I'm going to always be giving you these gems. Who knows what the next topic is going to be about? But like I said, I just wanted to give this to you guys now. So y'all know what it is, man. I'm Jabari K. Smith, but I go by Coach Jabo. As I always say, stay positive, stay productive, and stay in the present. But now I'm going to switch it up because of the shirt. Know thyself, brand thyself. And until next time, man, I holla. Peace out, y'all.